Welcome to the Cosmic Sky Podcast. I'm Everett Curdy. And in this episode, I'm going to be giving you a past astrological look. Just like I did the past couple of days, I'm going to be going deep into 6 days in 2024 that I got rid of a couple videos from my original channel that I had no intention of getting rid of, but I did. So I am doing it here on this podcast so that I can move on from this without doing it with the sort of sitting on it with the kind of impure feeling like, I didn't do it well, or I was wrong for doing that. Well, yeah, I can't change what I did in the past. That's all I can say. And the first thing I want to say is, letting go. Letting go and trusting the universe. Trusting the universe. Not having a rigid attachment to over anxiety about needing to constantly monitor everything to make sure that it's going to be the way that you want it to be. And just trust. Trust. It's all going to work out. Trusting. I trust. This episode will get published on Spotify, no problem. And all the ones down the line. All the episodes from now on will be published correctly. If there's any other belief, if there's any other truth, I don't want to hear it. Because I don't need the stress and the anxiety doing these videos with that thought in the back of my mind that it's going to be a recording that's not going to post. So, the truth is, it's all going to be fine. They will post. That's what I need to remember. So delving in, today we're talking about July 16th through 21st of 2024. So let's take a look back. July 16th, we have the Sun sextile Uranus. This is a transit which really looks at becoming more self-aware of ourselves. Becoming very, very self-aware of who we are as individuals through things like downloads and enlightened pieces of information. Things that you gain just all of a sudden. Piece of information that just comes to you like that. It just immediately comes to you. And you're like, wow, I didn't even know that was there. I didn't even expect that. It just came like a lightning bolt. It was sudden. It was just jolting. It was just like, wow, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that revelation to come to me all of a sudden in my mind, in my own heart. So, when it comes to these pieces of information, they have a lot of note to them. And note is powerful. Note is powerful. Don't get me wrong about note. So, all these enlightened bits that come into your environment are always sending you signals and messages to keep in mind. So, it's really about the openness to learn about cultural backgrounds of others in your life. Now, I'm not saying go out and meet, what I used to say in these videos. If I were to make this video back in 2024, I would say, oh, well, you're going to meet people from different cultural backgrounds than your own. Well, who is going to, the rare circumstances that anyone's going to do that. Okay, it's a possibility. But any person in your life, now is the time to focus on their cultural backgrounds. Their cultural backgrounds. What they have to do in their own lives. The cultural backgrounds That's really what it has to do with, is being open to these different backgrounds, being open to all these different things, all of a sudden in sort of the make or shifting of the mind. So being open to others' backgrounds, including your wife, it's a good time to learn more about their history, where they come from, their style of living. Their style will really come from. Very, very easily could you learn about how they live and how they live their life. Could you be open-minded towards them in that way? And then also becoming more curious in your day-to-day sort of routines and way of being. Being curious in the everyday, where your discoveries of doing all these kinds of things, of living all these kinds of truths out for yourself, and making discoveries, and making all these different discoveries of, what comes out in your life, and where you get, all this insight and realization, like you suddenly notice, this is what interests me. This is what I'm genuinely interested in with this. And the last thing here is that at this time, it may be easier to change. Change is an easier thing. Where you're feeling more adaptable, you're feeling more flexible. Like, it finally feels time to rearrange your life, to alter your life around. Like, the stagnant pattern, and I think that in Cancer and Taurus, it can be based more around maybe changing certain things around your home environment, or your stable life, or your emotional well-being that can help you feel more secure. You like all these new ideas, like I want to change around the couch, or I want to change around physical things, or what gives you security and stability in your home life, and what gives you comfort. Like all of a sudden, wow, I want to try something new. Actually, this makes me feel really, really comfortable. This new dish I really, really like gives me a lot of comfort. This new fabric of bed sheet makes me feel very, very comfortable. This, I don't know, telephone is really, really hooking me up with my family. That all kinds of things. So it's easier to change. It's easier to make a difference in your life with what you're doing. Easier to sort of move things around in your life and alter your life around in this kind of way, with what it means to change. And Uranus wants to change, so be open to change. July 17th. The Sun is sextile Mars. And with the Sun sextile Mars, this is about leadership. The Sun is our ego, personality, bright stand-up, identity. And Mars is how we assert ourselves, how we act, what we want to drive ourselves towards. And so it's about true leadership, having leadership. And what is true leadership? I discussed this on the Saturn and Leo episode of this podcast that I did May 16th, if you want to go back and check that out. Leadership is not about dominating others or controlling others into a certain way of being, or and I want to look up okay, that's what I wanted to just see. But so anyway, leadership is really about not dominating, not controlling. That's what Saturn and Leo people are here to learn. It is about inspiring others, leading others, inspiring them. A true leader does not think about itself, puts its own needs first. It thinks of the good of the group and doesn't try to dominate or control. It has a genuine desire to serve the group and to serve others. Leading, inspiring others to be very, very successful and be very, very good at what they're doing, and where they value them and put the best in for them. Where they, value what they have to give. They value each individual talents, gifts, and abilities, and they put the best in for all themselves to be. So they put the best in for wanting to make the group satisfied, wanting to make everyone content with feeling connected and belonging within a group. True group leader is not a narcissist. So when you're competing with those outside of the group, those enemy lines and the frontier lines of the trenches in World War I, into the fighter planes of World War II, into the the missiles of all those kind of things like that, and all those Western ways of all the world that can go down, where you are thinking of, competing within other groups, competing between you and other groups, what's going on with you and other teams, and, really, really trying to prove yourself out in the world and make a name for yourself as someone very, very strong. Not inside the group. And do we really need to prove ourselves? Like, I personally believe we don't need to prove ourselves against other groups. We can just be equal. We can just be, loving and, considerate toward other groups. Respecting their, without trying to compete against them. Without trying to compete. There's no need for, in this day and age, to compete. We can just let them do their own thing, let them be who they want to be. And, really not competing within the group, within what's going on inside the group with the different group members. And, others should accept their leadership. Other people accepting how the leader wants to lead, because this is how they feel this is the right way to lead. This is how they feel they must lead their group. This is what they feel in their heart is best. If it's from their ego, then we must question, we must, try to transform them. But if it is from a soul-centered, heart-centered place, we should really, really respect what they have to offer and be as open as we can when it comes to leadership, their style of leadership. And then we also find exercise as a way of moving energy. Really, really having exercise as a way of moving through your body. That's really, really huge. Exercise is phenomenal for releasing energy, for moving the energy around in your body. And when you move energy around, you release all these kind of things, and you find balance and equilibrium within yourself through your exercise. Through exercising, we release all of these tensed up emotions, all this stress, all this pain, all the sadness, all the stagnant, stuck energy that we've been sitting on, and we're letting it out, and we're moving energy through our systems, and we are being very strong, really, really powerful with that. And so we're finding balance and equilibrium, finding a sense of peace and calm within ourselves through exercise. That's really where our power lies, is through doing it through the exercise sort of motion picture, how we're going about our world. And July 18th, we have, Venus trining the North Node. I'm going to go into this a little bit, actually. I'm going to talk really, really in depth about this. Our relationships are filled with all kinds of ease. And we find that during this time, with Venus, the planet of relationships and love in the North Node, is, our destiny, our soul path in this life, what our soul's leading towards. We find that our relationships have ease in them. We do what feels right. We're naturally doing what feels right for us. Not just succumbing to people-pleasing others, and it's not about serving the other in relationship. It's not about making the other happy and pleasing the other and being in their good graces and sacrificing your own needs for somebody else. Like, take care of your own needs. Don't sacrifice it just for the sake of others. Just take care of it. And, it's about doing what feels right. That leads you, on your path. Instead of just following along with others, do what feels right for you. Do what feels true for you. In your own individual sovereignty, in your own individual life. That's really, really the key here, is doing what feels right for you in that way, and really, really carving out your destiny, shaping your own destiny. People can come into your life to help you to move on your unique path. They can support you. They can easily support you with doing this. People can come into your life and help you to, shape you into the person that you're meant to become, into whatever higher evolved version, so that you can reach your fulfillment, that you can achieve the lessons that your soul wants you to reach, that you can feel the sense of satisfaction within yourself. People can help you move on this path and help you along in your life. And so, making choices to benefit your future and what you do, it's really, really huge. Choices that benefit your future. Really consider what choices that you're making. Choices that you're making is really, really huge. What are those choices? What are those decisions? And will these decisions serve your future, serve your growth, serve where you're going in this life? Will these decisions help you personally? They're silent choices. You make them internally. You don't tell anyone. You don't let anyone know. You don't have to project these choices onto others. They're quiet. They're silent. They're very, very small choices. But you have a lot of enjoyment from them. You make these choices to help you find greater meaning and greater joy in your life, where you make these decisions and you enjoy your life much better. Your life is so much better because you made these choices. That's really what it comes down to. People are drawn to you as well as opportunities. People are drawn in to you. People are pulled toward you because you are a magnet of moving on your own sovereign path, of moving on your path of evolution, doing all that. So there's this pull that people have towards you. So track those in. Mutual relationships, forming mutual relationships where the two are supporting each other's growth, where others are supporting your own personal growth in your path, your own personal evolution, and you are supporting the growth of others. Like they are deciding to do what feels right for them, and you're supporting each other. You're not holding each other back from what truly feels right for each other. You're not being judgmental, you're not coming down, you're not preaching, you're just serving. You're just serving. Serving others. Serving them, and they are serving you in a way that's true for you. Like mutual relationships is where the two support each other equally. Not one supporting the other, and not the other just sitting along and not supporting the other's needs. Like, oh my goodness. It becomes really, really sad when people get older and they're not as able to do things. And when my grandpa was alive, he just sat around at home and did whatever and watched TV, smoked, which I will not smoke, and didn't do really any work around the house of everything. And then my grandma had to do everything for him. Everything, taking care of him. He was not the most capable of taking care of himself, and she had to take care of his every need. And that is not a mutual relationship. Doing everything for the person, sacrificing yourself out of just this weight and obligation and responsibility. Like, no, this is not a proper relationship. Long-lasting relationships are relationships that last for the test of time. The two partners support each other. If the relationship is not mutual, and if the two are not supporting each other, what kind of relationship is it going to be? What kind of relationship is it going to be? Guess what? It's not going to last very long. Because one person's receiving and not giving enough, and the other person is outpouring, giving energy, attention, resources, work, ever. The other person is just not pulling any weight, not doing anything. Like, there was this movie that I was seeing, this really, really bad, mean man who was sitting around watching TV. And he was sitting around watching TV. And then this, this woman was really, really exhausted coming home from work. Coming home from work. Very, very tired. And he was just sitting in front of the TV. Said, "Oh, I'm starving. Why didn't you come home earlier?" And she was like, "Well, if you were starving, then you can learn to cook and make this sandwich. You can make something yourself." And so, then he was very, very unfeeling. "Don't give me the excuses." And then, she made him a grilled cheese. And then he, was like, "Oh, this is too greasy." Pushed the plate away, ungratefully. Didn't appreciate what she did. Didn't appreciate anything that she did. And so, he didn't pull his weight. She had to do everything. She had to do all the dishes, all the household chores. He was so focused on work that he didn't put enough time and didn't balance his life out and didn't have consideration for his wife. To help out around the house, to support his wife with what he was doing, to support her with her household chores, to support her with things around the house, taking care of the house. And, as a result, she woke up one morning and said, things need to pull weight around here. You need to pull your weight around here. And he was like, "No, let's not talk about this again." And she was like, "Well, we're going to talk about it again." And then she thought that he was cold, and she thought that, and she was like, "No, I don't deserve to be treated like this. You can find somebody else, but if you're going to be in a relationship with me, you can't just expect to walk all over me, and I'm going to put up with it." So she walked out. So, that is good for her with standing up for herself and not putting herself in a situation with somebody who was not right for her, who didn't respect her, who didn't appreciate her for who she was. In the kind of way. So, that is what it takes for a relationship, is a mutual loving relationship where the two partners are caring for each other in that way. So that is really what makes a relationship. And, it's also naming what feels right. Naming what feels right for you. Naming what really feels right. And it's very, very soothing to you. Really soothes you, really makes you feel comfortable. And comfort that keeps you growing. That keeps you from growing in a way. And this comfort, because with trines, the North Node scenario is Venus is Leo, and the trines are, aspects that are kind of make you lazy. They kind of honestly, at worst, you don't act on the trine, you don't act on the energy. And you become lazy as a result. You don't take advantage of the energy. Like sextiles say, if you want to get that fruit from the tree, you have to actually go out and do it. The fruit's going to not be landed into your lap. Go towards it. Actively take action to go towards it. So, when it comes right down to it, this is about comfort. And this comfort being stuck keeps you from actually expanding. And the North Node wants you to grow. It doesn't want you to stay in your comfort zone. It says comfort zone. So maybe you say yes to another person for the sake of harmony. Or you say no for the sake of ego. Understanding that. If I have any limiting belief at all, like as I was talking about the mutual relationship example, I was coming up against a limiting belief of just pleasing others. Does it really feel right to you to do this for another person? There's nothing wrong with service and making others feel good from a loving and genuine and authentic place, but if you're doing it from like this martyrdom, like obligation, like I gotta do this, I have to sacrifice what I want and do it, like, no. You don't have to do what isn't right for you. But you don't have to be so selfish about it either. So anytime any limiting belief like that comes up, it all goes back to, is it from your soul or is it from your ego? That's what it all goes back to. All this, anything like that, it comes right back to that. And I am not somebody who likes to be told that I am selfish and that I don't think of other people and that I have a consideration for other people, because I do. I'm just putting myself first and I know what's right for me and all this kind of things, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, that's, a reflection of them and not a reflection of me. So, saying yes for harmony's sake, but does it, really serve your growth and evolution to just say yes and please others and just make others happy? Does it really, really, help you in that way? And then, maybe caught up in, short-term relationships. This may be a really, really huge thing. Where, these short-term relationships stifle you. They hold you back from, growth, where you form this relationship with a person that you cook, you sing, you dance, you are on dates, you form a nice relationship where you get to know the person, you get to bond with the person, you form a connection, you form chemistry and all that kind of thing. But the relationship does not last for the long term. Because it fizzles out. All the excitement and all the connection just fizzles out. And, you don't have anything, for the long term. So that's where it needs to be important for relationships to be serving your growth for the long term. And this may be, a pull toward those who help you to feel more peace and equilibrium inside yourself. That's really what it comes down to, is those who serve your equilibrium, those who help you to feel more at equilibrium within yourself. Be with those people, who really, really help you to feel that way. In your life, being with them that make you feel a sense of peace about yourself, sense of, balance. And be open to the small acts of beauty. Be open to the little things. Being open to the little things for this aspect. Being open to the little signs that the universe gives you of beauty, of love, of care, of treasures to be had and treasures to be found. All these acts, all these small little things when it comes to beauty, when it comes to what is truly beautiful. What is truly beautiful? What is that thing that really, really has a lot of beauty in it? Really will make the most of its beauty. Such as it can be compliments that are done in very, very honest way. Like being open to when someone gives an honest, compliment. Like when somebody gives you a compliment, they're considering you, they are caring for you. They want to do that from the goodness of their heart. They want to love you for the goodness of who you are, and they consider you and they appreciate you, and so therefore they are showing you that by giving you a compliment. You're really, really good at this. So, so receive their love, their care. Don't be so defensive and, cut them off. Like when I see comments that are very, very positive, like I won't be defensive. I will take it, and that makes me feel good. And so I will receive those comments, that praise, that all the things. And about receiving, like you are worthy of receiving. And so, and also having boundaries with others, having proper boundaries. When we have a boundary, we are separating between you and the other. Boundaries can set you free. I know it sounds ironic, but it makes you feel more liberated and more at peace with yourself when you set boundaries with another. When you set boundaries, you're saying to yourself, I love myself and I love the other person, but they will not get the better of me. They will not step on my toes. They will not take away my peace, my well-being, my sense of stability within myself. They will not take away who I am, and so therefore I'm setting boundaries, physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, whatever. And there's an idea and a synergy that if the two could come together, you do things that you couldn't really do alone. You do things that you could not do alone. This really, really is huge, because the things that you couldn't do alone are really the things that say, get with another person, bond with them, connect with them, and do something collaborative with them. Because you're so powerful and you can do all these things, but really, you don't know what you can do with another person. You don't know the bond you can form with another person. Meeting those who are in alignment with what your heart wants, who have the same heart connection, who wants the same things on a soul level that you want, similar things that you want, and forming those harmonious alignments. Like those are your people who really, really feel these similar ways, have a lot in common with you. Like I know that my new job coach that I'm meeting right now is a person for me, because we value each other, and he really, really highly values me, and we have a lot of the same values and beliefs when it comes to how we like to produce content on social media. And so that's what I'm talking about, like finding those who are right for you, knowing who they are, regardless of who they are on social media. I'll also have another podcast about that on this podcast, so if you want to check that out, it's there for you. So meeting people who are with you, whose heart is really, really in line with yours. You can really, really form a lot of collaboration with them. Collaborating with them, forming collaborative relationships where you're bonding, where you're connecting in very, very intellectual ways, and kindness. Being kind to the other person. Just basic kindness and consideration is really, really huge. Considering them in a true way. I'm not saying sacrifice your needs just for the other person. That is something that I will never be able to acquire within myself, and I know that about myself. If you have a need, and if you have somebody that cares about you, then address that need. Don't be afraid to advocate for your own needs and have those needs taken care of when you feel like you need those things taken care of. It's like you are worthy of having your needs taken care of. So don't feel like you have to sacrifice that just for the sake of the other person, because that is inauthentic. And so, but considering the other. And their needs also. And you can only consider the other's needs when you have your own needs addressed first. Okay, you put yourself first, then put others first. Like you put on your own oxygen mask before you put others, on. So once you have your own needs addressed and your own things taken care of, then you can help others. Then you can consider others. Like that's how it works. That's how it works. And so maybe you're more aesthetic with your more beauty. Doing what makes you feel, doing what gives you a sense of beauty, doing what you find beautiful, doing what you want to decorate your life with. Collages, artwork, music, trees, the environment. I mean, doing whatever helps you to feel alive in that way. And then, really, all this receiving coming into play here. Again, receive, like the invitation, like Venus is the receiver. It attracts people, circumstances to it that it finds beautiful, that, it is about having a solid sense of self-worth about yourself so that you can attract that in. You can attract those things in that bring you a sense of self-worth, that bring you a sense of value, a sense of peace, a sense of love and contentment, and all those kind of things like that for your life. So, pushing you toward care. Listen. Listen to what others really, really want you to say and want you to, believe in. Be open to that. Be open to that. You don't have to fall with what others want. Just be open-hearted and just listen. Listen. Hear the other side. Listen to what they're saying. Like, you don't have to be so, defensive against the other person. Like, it's about opening up and forming a heartfelt connection. You don't have to do it, but just listen and have a conversation. You may do it, but you don't have to. Like any criticism or anything like, I want you to do this, please do this. It's just for your consideration. Not that you have to do it. It's just for you to think about and consider and do all that. And you have free will whether you want to act on it or not. So, the future you want to build, for yourself. The future that you want to build, in a way, can be from very, very small choices. Like the little things that you do. Like, what is the little things that you can do that make your life a heck of a lot better for yourself? Small little things. Journaling, meditation, all those little small things. Giving yourself self-love, feeding your inner child. I just got a deck the other day, the Inner Child Oracle, and I want to look at that today. And I want to pull from that deck and see what insights come up with that cards. I'm very, very curious to find out. And so it's about saying yes. To be very, very kind, to be more true to yourself. Saying yes, and being kind to yourself in that way. Kind to yourself with whatever you are doing. So saying yes, but do you really mean the yes? Do you really want to please? Do you really want the peace and harmony? Or do you feel like internally there's something that is holding you back from that? What you want, like deep down in your soul, there's this fire raging. There's this anger. There's this stirring. Like, you want to be free. You want to be independent. You want to go after your own things. You want to do what you want. And then this other person having to please them in this relationship is holding you back from that. Well, then you don't have to please. You don't have to say yes. So then you have that going on. Being true to yourself is very, very important. Let's talk about July 19th, Mercury square Uranus. This is about being adaptable. Really, really being adaptable in order to thrive in your life. being adaptable really is a strong state of what you can really, really be in your life, is adaptable. If we're so rigid, if we're so stuck in our plans and our own ideas and, what we want and being so stubborn with it, then we can't be, adaptable. We can't open up to possibilities. We can't open up to new perspectives and possibilities and change. Like Uranus comes in and wants you to change. It forces your hand to sort of change. And if you're just staying the same, if you're just stubborn and in a rut, not refusing to change and refusing to grow, Uranus is going to come along and get you out of your comfort zone in order for you to experience something more adventurous, more liberating, more exciting, more joyful. That's ultimately, this change is going to lead you to more happiness and peace in your life. That's what Uranus wants for you. Is Uranus wants all the best for you. And so, being as adaptable as you can be, really. And, not being so rigid when it comes to following a certain plan is what it really comes down to. Like, when you're so rigid with following a plan, you get into this mindset like, I gotta follow this plan the way it is and the way that it absolutely has to go, and I can't change and I can't bend this plan. I can't, rearrange my life because of it. You can. You don't have to change your life completely, but just don't have this rigid like, oh, I gotta follow this plan, do all this, because like the universe opens up all these new doorways and all these things that happen that disrupt plans. Like, you can't be so, fixated on needing the plan to be absolutely followed through to a T, because that's not always how life happens. The universe wants you to grow, and sometimes that growth comes from, having a different way, having a detour, having something that you didn't expect. But it's all for your evolution. Even though it's hard, it's really, really all for you to grow as a soul being in this life. And that's what we have to understand. So following that plan, and there's an excitement that can make you very, very, it's like this excitement sort of steers you off course. You're like, over here, over there. We are not focused on a particular objective. We're not focused on a particular path. We're not, shooting that arrow straight into that kind of thing. And, all that kind of thing. So, you're just distracted, with whatever you end up doing, whatever you end up living with. And, and you're less dependable. Others cannot rely on you to be there for them, to support their needs, to help them and all that, because of this energy. Because of this not being able to focus, not being able to get the job done. So that may be something with this. And also, there could be miscommunications that you may have with the other person that could come up during this time. Like, you're more able to, this transit brings awareness to miscommunications, where the other person misses important information. It misses this important information that you gather with yourself, and that you gather with, what you want for your life, where miscommunications come in, and and the wrong things get said. You're not communicating it clearly. You're not speaking it clearly. The person's not understanding you. You're not understanding each other. It's not clear. And so it could be the order of the day. And so, but the positive thing is it gives you the ability to see different perspectives, different viewpoints, being open to different ways of looking at the world and ways of thinking and all those kind of things. Like, that's the upside of this energy, is that you're not so fixated on your own way of looking at the world, where you're understanding, like with humility, that your view to the world is your window to the world is not your only window, not your only window to the world. So, it's like being open to different ways of looking at the world, and deliberating very, very carefully, like thinking about your choices before you just make them impulsively, before you just make them very, very, out of impulse, out of a desire to just do it right now. Just get them done. You just act in the moment, act from your impulses. Like, I gotta do this right now. I gotta, make sense. Make sense of my life. Right now, and it's gotta get done now. It's about thinking about what your choices are before you make them. Really, really considering what you're gonna do before you do it, not acting that way. And then July 20th, Mars enters Gemini. This is great for having multiple interests, great for, having many, many different types of interests, because Gemini is a multifaceted sign. It's interested in all kinds of different things. It's interested in the flowers over here, the book on knitting over there, the documentary on World War II over here, this person's life, that person's life. It's interested in all these kind of things at once. It's interested in all these things, and understanding the power of your communication. That you have a lot of power with your words. That your words carry a lot of weight, carry a lot of power in them. So, when you can speak with power, when you can speak with a lot of power in your voice and all that, you really, really be huge with being powerful in your communication when it comes to speaking your truth, speaking what you authentically want to say from a place of truth and sovereignty, and then also strategizing, really, really strategizing, your goals and what you want to do, and having smart sort of ways of going about your goals, being able to really, really be intellectual, think about the goals very, very strongly before you just act on them, really, really being able to think very, very intellectually, with a smart and savvy way about them. And then really, your words, that get your way, that, where you grow from, and where you express your anger, you express anger through your words. But when it comes down to Mars and Gemini, it's not just, I use words to get my way, I use words to fight. Well, everybody does, but how do you use the words? Gemini has sharp, agile, intelligent, very, very, really, really smart, very, very intellectually savvy words, and they're clever and intellectual. And so that's really all about that. And so that is to be said for that. And then July 21st, the full moon in Capricorn, 5:21 a.m. Central Time, 6:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is really when this full moon is exact. This is a time of culmination. Like, full moons are always a time of culmination, things coming to a head, things coming to a completion. This is what it is about, really, with full moons. Like, something comes to, like, you're seeing something fully for what it is. You're seeing something, honestly. Like, you're seeing the honest truth of it. It's being illuminated for you. And so, Cancer, which the sun is in, deals with attachments. Keep in mind that we had a full moon June 21st in the sign of Capricorn also. Attachments, Cancer, emotional attachments. Like the home, that possession, that cuddly stuffed animal, that that book, that family member, that those emotional, like, Cancer deals with emotional attachments, that things that make you feel comfortable on an emotional level. And then a Capricorn is like, so not about that. It's about going out into the world and achieving things and making things happen, and setting your goals and being a builder of your life, and work and pragmatism, and it also rules over punishments, like getting punished. Like Capricorn sort of is responsible for creating the punishment versus reward system, where rewards are given to those who do well, who actually put in the work and time and energy to be able to achieve that thing, that goal or whatever, whatever they're doing really. Rewards are for those individuals who prove their worth, who really put in the work and really put in the effort. And punishments to those who really act badly. Like rewards are for the ones who act good. The punishments are the ones who act badly. And behave badly. Just like children, if you get, told, you probably get put in timeout or put, in your room or whatever. Like punishments are those for, like put in jail or whatever against the law, anything bad or unethical, whatever. Then you get real world consequences and, punishments for that. And, in Hell's Kitchen, which is really low frequency cooking show, very, very low frequency indeed. A lot of stuff in there. I've watched it 2023 to 25. There was a lot of, every challenge at the beginning, the team that wins gets this really, really amazing reward, going to a casino or going to this nice restaurant or tasting a nice wine in the great vineyards or, whatever, I don't know. And then the ones who get punished, like have to, take out a whole pig and cut it down, or, clean up the dining room, or recycle, or something really, really unpleasant, or pound out, take out the pits of grapes, many grapes, I don't know, shell, whatever, all these kind of, extreme rewards. And so, that is what I wanted to say about punishments and rewards. Then there's also this, theme with like conditional love, which is Cancer. I may bring this up again at the full moon in Capricorn conversation around June 29th, so tune in for that video around that time. But the conditional and unconditional love is really what this has to do with. Like conditional love is like, I love you if you follow through these conditions, if you do what I want you to do, if you do exactly what I want you to do, what I need you to do, if you follow these rules, if you do what I tell you to do, if you fit into my box and do what I want you to do, then you're worthy of my love. And so that is not love. Conditional love is not love. And unconditional love is just accepting you for who you are. Letting you do whatever feels right. Letting you be love. Letting you, take care of it for your own sake. Letting you, letting you be, really. Letting you be. Letting you be love, be joy, be peace. And really, just true love. So it's what it is. Capricorn is the goal that we're setting. It's the goal achiever. It's about balancing career with family life. It's about balancing, your career work situation with, your family environment, and yourself, like that. So, that's what it is all about. And so you're balancing these two aspects of your life out. Like not overdoing your going out into the world, yes, and achieving things, but but not over having too much of a strong career where you're working, and not not taking care of your family, not spending quality time, not putting your mind, energy, and attention into your family. Cancer is where we come from. It's the lowest point of our chart. It's our fourth house. It's our roots. It's our ancestors. It's our emotional foundations of what environment we are in at the start of our lives, of really our lineage, our the core of who we are, of what forms us into the person who we are in our life, and how the Capricorn comes from Cancer, comes from that fourth house, and what we put out into the world and what goals we achieve is a reflection of our roots and where we come from, like our upbringing. Now that that really has a huge say, and that really reflects what we do out into the world. So they really reflect each other. And where we are going is Capricorn. The direction that we're going, the direction that we're heading in, what we want to achieve, what we want to work with, and get in terms of our goals, and find success in our lives. How can we be supported? Allowing ourselves to receive help and to receive support, that we don't have to do it all on our own. And being driven in our goals. Really being driven, maturing the subject matter, and really being driven to achieve whatever goals that we achieve, and really putting our mind and effort into that goal. So that is all that I have to say for the astrology of July 16th through 21st of 2024. This is the last signing off the collective view astrology that I'll be making up with. I may do past transits of the astrological happenings that may go on, that have gone on. But tomorrow I will be doing the 12 signs for what they needed to experience for these 6 days of July, these 6 days, and I'll be going through each and every sign on tomorrow's episode. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and sort of the thing that I really want to talk about is I really want to make clear, like, these videos, I don't have a script to these videos. I don't have it, like, I don't I don't read off something because that's fake and inauthentic. I say what is truly authentic to me in the moment with what comes up. And I think that a script really ruins that kind of, that flow of ideas to come to you and opening your mind. Well, you may go along, have basic ideas for a video, but then what if something else comes up? There's beauty, and it's much more interesting to watch a video where the person is speaking naturally, and speaking ideas, because they come up and they're very interested, like they find it important and significant, and it's a great idea in the moment, rather than just having it all written down, and then destroys the flow. It destroys the fun of doing that video. So I want to do it in the way that's fun for me to do it, and having a script in videos is not a way that's fun for me. So anyway, I will sign off now, and I'll see you on tomorrow's episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast. Until then, take good care of yourself, and so will I.